And we are live. Welcome to Crypto Rewind, last week in crypto. Collaboration between RiceTVX and Satoshi Sean, my co-host, and today we are joined by Seth from Mine Your Biz. You can find him on the interwebs at mineyour.biz. Links are down below in the video description for the articles that we're going to be talking about, as well as everybody's channels. So make sure that you're subscribed to everybody's channels. And we're going to go ahead and begin this live stream. All right. And again, thank you for tuning in. We're going to have links down below, as I mentioned, for everything that we talk about on today's show. Make sure you smash that like button. It helps other people to be able to see this information in the YouTube algo flow. And before we begin, a couple quick messages from our sponsors. This particular sponsor is a sponsor of both RiceTVX and Satoshi Sean. Shout out to Monarch. We have information down below in the video description for Monarch, as well as the other two sponsors spots we're going to be showing here in just a moment for Presurge and BitSwap DEX.
BitSwap is the hottest new way to trade tokens. Crawling all the top decentralized exchanges, BitSwap will get you the very best price and value for your trades. BitSwap is changing the game. Try it now at bitswapdex.com.
.com. Okay, now we are about to do this thing here in just 1 second. All right, so right here I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Satoshi Sean. Going to go ahead and make sure you're unmuted. What's going on, my friend?
Oh, you know, a lot. How you been, bud?
Been good, man. When you say a lot, are we just talking about a lot of personal stuff or just a lot of work?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Well, you know, a lot of personal stuff. Plus, the space has been kind of nuts the past week too. Maybe it's just catching up with my life. So,
Yeah, it's kind of a chaotic moment because people aren't really sure like where we are. I still have a feeling that we're in the bull market and just in a little bear lag, but a lot of manipulation is going on. I could be wrong. I'm not a technical analysis person, but that seems to be the general consensus with most people.
It's a good analogy. It's like a confusion and apprehension. A lot of that all at once there. Yeah.
Word. Well, I want to bring in our guest of honor today, joining us for today's Crypto Rewind on July the 9th, live on a Friday night, 7:00 p.m. Eastern time. We have Seth from Mine Your Biz. Seth, thanks for joining us today. How you doing, brother?
Doing great. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. It was a little bit, it was unexpected, but totally welcome when the DM came through.
Totally short notice.
You know what, though? That's how we do it here. It's like when you do the syndicated news too, right? Like they don't even give you talking points. They're like, "Hey, stand in front of this this microphone and this camera and whatever. We'll ask you about the price of rice in China." Why not?
No, I feel you because just for people who are watching, I messaged Seth last night and I was like, "Hey, I know it's short notice, but do you want to come on our show tomorrow?" I've been trying to get guests in advance, and I slacked on that earlier this week and realized that it was just me and Sean, and I've been trying to make sure we're inviting a third wheel. So thanks again, man. And what I do want to encourage people to do is make sure that they're heading over to all three of our channels. So if you're not subscribed to RiceTVX, make sure you subscribe to RiceTVX. Also, the backup channel, the sequel, RiceTVX2, and this is linked down below as well. Satoshi Sean's channel and Mine Your Biz. And I also have links for Seth's actual webpage, which you can find at mineyour.biz as well. And again, these are linked down below. So, Seth, man, I know you've been on my show before. this is your first time meeting Sean, and it's been a while since you've been on my show. Do you mind kind of doing like a slight, real quick introduction, how you got involved in crypto, and then I guess follow it up with some of your favorite projects in the space now?
Sure, absolutely, right. I mean, it's not a crypto show unless you talk about how you got in, right? And my background is in corporate training. I worked as a senior national trainer for Microsoft. Prior to that, Google. Prior to that, Samsung Telecom USA. So based at just near Dallas, Texas, and just had a blast working in big tech during that time. When I was working at Microsoft, we helped roll out Windows 10 to be the most successful launch of a desktop operating system ever. And but I'm a long time Linux user myself, and long time open source fanatic personally. That was a paycheck back then, and I look back at that time and kind of experienced some regret, thinking I've probably helped to install surveillance apparatus in the homes of tens of millions of people in the United States. Like, personally, I'm probably responsible for this. So if you believe in divine retribution, if you believe in an afterlife, and balancing the scales, I've got some work to do to redeem myself here. So when I got involved in cryptocurrency, 2016. Prior to that, I had a couple of brothers who ran some multi-coin mining pools, and they said, "Seth, you got to look at this. You got to look closer." Bitcoin had been on my radar because of that since about 2013, but I didn't act, right? That's I wear it as a badge of shame. I didn't act when I first heard, didn't act when I heard about it the second time or the third time. Started to make jokes about it with coworkers and, the big tech companies that I worked at. Like, we'd be doing live trainings and saying, "Oh yeah, my coworker, Oso, we called him. He just scored 15,000 virtual points. He'll pay you in Bitcoin. Ho, ho, ho." Big joke. 2016, it became undeniable. 2017, it took the world over, right? And I just haven't looked back from that point. I knew I had to be involved, and I pretty much haven't looked back since then.
Now, before you talk about some of your projects you like, when you first got involved in crypto, being that you were kind of coming from a technical background and had a little bit more of an understanding of equipment and stuff, is that what got you involved in the mining aspect?
Absolutely. Yeah. So if you're involved in IT at all, whether you're like a network specialist or just like a PC gamer enthusiast, crypto mining, it tends to make a lot of sense very early on, because if you can build a gaming rig, you can build a mining rig, easy peasy, right? And if you can build a really good mining rig, then you can do really well in this space. And if you can build a lot of good mining rigs, then you can work for investor groups and you can consult. So it's it's an established path now. And I mean, 5-8 years ago, not so much. We were all kind of like making things up as we went. But now there are investor groups that actually want people who have these skills. And if you already worked in IT, it's just a really good fit. So totally.
Makes sense. Now, did you buy crypto first or mine it first?
It was gifted to me first. And then after that, I was like, you know what? I want to try to get my own after this. And mining made sense. So I mined the next amount. And then I think at some point, I fell into the Coinbase trap and, started doing referral links, and I bought some there, and I don't do that anymore.
Nothing wrong with that, though.
I think one of the biggest parts of mining that people don't really get unless you do it is just the feeling you get of being part. And you really can't do that running a masternode. I mean, I don't, but when you actually mine, and you set it up, and it's just a totally different feeling, especially for someone who's not like an IT person, someone that takes the time, learns how to do it. It's such a huge accomplishment. And, I don't know, it's weird. You have like more skin in the game, even if you don't have money, because you put in the effort and you've learned. Yeah, so
Satoshi Sean, I think that's exactly right. I used to say that mining is the gateway drug to crypto, and I still kind of stand by that. Like, once you catch that feeling of accomplishment, and then you actually see rewards going to your wallet, very hard to break that.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. What coins are you mining? Are you mining coins that you like and support, or are you mining profitable coins and trading them for coins that you like and support?
Yeah, all of the above. But my bread and butter is Ethereum right now because I'm a GPU miner, and really hard to beat. Things are kind of looking uncertain after the London hard fork, the London upgrade in early August. So we'll see which way that goes. Hopefully it swings to the upside. Hopefully we break out of this channel and it goes higher. But really, it's anybody's guess. These upgrades and sometimes the community sentiment, they can do unexpected things. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, and that's the reason I was asking is because sometimes your favorite projects aren't the most profitable coins to mine, and if you're looking at it from a profitability perspective, it makes sense to mine something that's more profitable and then trade for the coins that you really like. Unless you really just want to be like someone really supporting that blockchain and helping to be a validator, pushing through transactions and producing blocks, which is nothing wrong with that. So are there any particular projects right now that you're really excited about in the crypto space?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, Ethereum, again, it's an obvious go-to for anybody that has any GPU lying around. Any PC gamers that are watching Rice's channel right now or watching the show, or Satoshi Sean's channel as well. Obviously, it's very, very easy to move from having a PC gaming rig and to just turn your GPUs to mining Ethereum when you're not otherwise gaming. Like, set it and forget it. You will be profitable right now in the current market conditions. As far as other projects that I'm excited about and that I sometimes support either out of love or because it's a better speculative play than Ethereum on a small scale for a smaller mid-cap play, there are several. Flux Network is a great one. It doesn't show quite how profitable it is on whattomine.com, but the team is always hard at work. Really great mid-cap project with really great leadership, really great development, awesome community. I mean, tremendous goodwill. One, gosh, how long has it been? A few months now. They just decided, hey, we really feel like building our own Oracle system, independent of like Chainlink or whatever else. And they did. In like 2 weekends, they built an Oracle system from scratch.
Okay.
And I mean, this is the kind of goodwill and development talent they have in that community, where they just decide, hey, we got this project here, that project there, and people just make it happen. It's pretty outstanding. But that's one. Haven Protocol, which they suffered a really big hit due to a hack in terms of the arbitrage between going from their Monero style core currency, and then pegging to something called XUSD, their own private by default USD peg coin, which
So
is very similar
to a private stable coin.
Mm-hmm. So think of it as like Tether built on Monero technology.
Okay.
That's exactly what they have. And within their coin network and their wallet client, you can take their native currency, which is doing this in values in the markets, and you can peg it to their private stablecoin. Now, long story short, they had a hack. Things really took a beating, but they're down like 70%. So if you were looking for that entry point that you felt like you missed a year ago, if they rebuild, if they succeed, right, all bets are off here. Not financial advice, but if they don't die, then the price may eventually go back up and you got a better entry point now.
Okay, cool. Are you familiar with any of those projects, Sean?
I've heard of Ethereum.
You have heard of Ethereum?
Yeah, I've heard of a few, man. I really did. Honestly, you said something that did shock me. That if you have a gaming PC, you could actually be profitable mining Ethereum with it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Sean, I'm going to say for anybody, for the benefit of any of your audience members, some of the mining profitability data will show that they will have been profitable on their mining rigs for about the last 8 months. Unbroken, 8 months straight of profitability.
And is this joining pools or is this just mining on your own?
This would be pool mining. Yeah, you couldn't do this solo and get quite the same profitability, but every day,
solo wise,
money.
Are they still ASICs? Is that kind of what's controlling the Ethereum mining market?
Well, it's tough to say. Yeah, so the hardware signature of ASICs on the Ethereum network is really hard to pick apart from the GPUs that are on the Ethereum mining network. But in either case, everybody is mining to pools. Full stop. Unless you've got a really large scale mining facility, and there are a few on the Eastern Seaboard with tens of thousands or even over 100,000 GPUs across their larger campuses, like airplane hangars worth of equipment. They might run their own pool, maybe, but even then, they typically mine to a larger pool like Ethermine or a Hivon, one of those.
Okay, cool. Sean, do you have any questions you want to ask them about mining or anything before we get into the news?
I kind of did. What do you think, like, the next gen, the future of mining is? Because it seems like over the past 5 years, it's just slowly come out of the like people's hands. Like you used to be able to get the little Bitcoin.
The raspberries.
Now they're just little circles. I forget what they're
seed
called.
grids. The seed grids. They were seed grids.
I mean, it was very easy. The barrier, the bar was very low, but you still couldn't make money. And then it was just, if you don't have an ASIC, you're screwed. There's no, or you're not.
Well, they used to have they used to have USB sticks that would have like script miners on them for like Litecoin.
Yeah, it was a lot easier, and now it seems that it's almost like computers back in the 90s. As soon as you walk out of the store, your computer's out of date. So what do you think the future holds for mining, more specifically Bitcoin, than anything else? And then also with all the uncertainty, where do you think we'll end up, say, a year or two from now, when it comes to the centralization of miners? I think we'll have a lot less in China, but that's something I really don't like, because if you make it more and more difficult, and it comes out of the hands of people, and it gets into where only like the rich can afford to mine, it's not where it's supposed to be. So what do you think about all that?
Yeah, it's great. That 1-2 punch of questions is it's the perfect line of questions, I think, and not enough people are asking that specific question, because it does follow the centralization of mining in terms of where the hardware profiles are going, and can a person at home participate? So, I mean, perfect questions for anybody following along at home. You should be asking more questions like this and staying curious. Take these guys' lead. Sometimes we just read the headlines and we don't ask any more questions. It's like, okay, well, China FUD, that makes sense. Okay, yeah. Yep. It's like, no, questioned a little bit, dig deeper. So I think those are the perfect questions. As far as like the direction that mining is going, unfortunately, it is moving towards centralization. It does trend towards centralization, because that's the nature of power, and that's the nature of incentives, right? When there's a financial incentive, larger groups, and it could even just be, Satoshi Sean, you and Rice just decide we want to do some mining. You both have 15K just off to the side, not doing much for you, stuck in fiat. Let's just say, for an example, say, hey, we're stronger together, 30K together. Let's get 2 homies each, right? And now we've got all of a sudden we've got 90K in capital. We're rocking and rolling, right? Now we can fill up a warehouse with some equipment. And just that act alone makes you a much bigger player than, Johnny CSGO player at home that has 1 GPU in his gaming rig and wants to try to do mining on it. And you can see how it doesn't take long for that mindset to sort of shift a little bit towards centralization, because let's go to a different person, like how the other half lives. We've got the Bill Gates of the world, and maybe not that, well moneyed, but like people who are in the 3% and 1% money earners in the United States, at least, well beyond our means. And they're saying, you know what? I've got this $1.5 million lying around in fiat, not doing very much for me. It's not yielding very much. I'm going to grab my buddy over here. Now we've got 3 million. You know what? We're each going to grab 2 buddies. And now we've got 9 million. All of a sudden you've got, again, an airplane hangar full of gear. And to everybody else, to us, it looks like, crud, we've got this. We're like ants underneath their giant magnifying glass of hash power. Like, what are we going to do? We're going to get smoked here. So there is a bit of a centralizing effect, because the incentive is there. The heavier you hit a network like Bitcoin, the more it gives. And that's by design. Satoshi put that block subsidy in place so that the more hash power you offer to the network, the more of the block reward you get. So this is, like, in its own perverse way, that's good. We want those incentives to be exactly as they are, but there are going to be people who come together and just say, look, we're stronger together. We can buy a more pallets full of gear from like China or wherever we're buying equipment. We can buy more together. And so that has a bit of a centralizing effect, even if you just use a brokerage like, say, Kaboom Racks or some place that is kind of known as a brokerage. So that's going to centralize it a little bit. As far as the hardware itself, trying to mine Bitcoin like natively on your PC at home or your laptop, those days are long gone, obviously. And ASICs as such, like right now, that arms race of building better, faster, stronger, more efficient
I was just going
ASICs.
to use that word. I was just going to use that word, and you used it. Arms race. It really is. And it seems like we've created this arms race, and kind of people created an arms race and knocked themselves out of the race. You know?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so to your point about centralization of hash rate in specific areas, well, yeah, I just noticed the name tag change here for Rice. That's great. But I got to figure out what your area code is. You're not Mr. 305. You're a different Pitbull, right? So
yeah, I'm a different Pitbull.
Yeah,
I'm the American Pitbull.
Yeah, he's +1. Yeah, there you go, Mr. +1, just the American, prefix. But
it was a nickname somebody gave me for being vicious after going after somebody who was I felt like scamming people and some interesting stuff. So it's just kind of one of these things that kind of stuck with me.
That's kind of tough, man. Tribally, we have to take care of our own. If we wait for Big Brother to do it, then legislation makes all our lives worse.
I agree. I got two things I wanted to bring up real quick with the mining stuff. We talked about centralization and going towards centralization. Have you heard of the random X mining algorithm?
Yes.
What do you think about that concept where it gives where it splits up the type of mining and it allocates so that way it at least makes it fair for like the individual gamer who's deciding he wants to go ahead and turn his computer on for mining? What are your thoughts on the random X?
Hey, I love that you bring that up. And let me just really quick, for the benefit of your audience, let me do a small education piece here on random X. I think it's great. First off, to answer your question as directly as possible, I think random X is awesome. There are some unintended consequences that come with an algorithm like random X. For the benefit of the audience at home, random X is the algorithm that is used by Monero, and a variant of the random X algorithm is used by several other coins like WowNero, the meme coin that is the testnet for Monero, and others like it. So it's a very popular mining algorithm that is intended to be executed by CPUs only. So gamers might have a really fancy GPU for playing video games. They would have to have a really beefy CPU at the heart of their computer to be able to do random X really well. So just wanted to get that out there.
Okay, appreciate it.
It's not something that can be done on ASICs very easily. And there may be there's another category of hardware that can do it called FPGAs, so field programmable gate arrays. It's really kind of like, it's not something you'll typically find in anybody's PC, whether they're a gamer or a content creator or anybody else. It's available, and they're important pieces of equipment, but they're not the same kind of commodity hardware that a graphics card or a CPU would be. So just to be aware, it's kind of a dark horse when mining random X. It's out there, they exist, they're high performance, but it's not something you or I would have in our mining rig at home.
Okay. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this. I'm trying to make it full screen so you can see this. Nexus cryptocurrency, they have a unique thing where they have 3 independent hashing algorithms. And they also have a hybrid. So it's 3 consensus channels, 2 proof of work, and 1 proof of stake. So it's hybrid, proof of stake, and proof of work. Prime channel is CPU mining. A hashing channel is GPU mining, and the Nexus proof of holding is the POH, which I'm assuming would be the some of this I get lost in this. Like when it goes like hybrid systems, not even just the random X. What are your thoughts on like hybrid systems that are using proof of work and proof of stake?
I think that's a really great way to go. First off, you brought up Nexus, so I got to give shout outs to Smiley Gnome, wherever you're at. Hopefully,
Smiley's good. He's a friend of mine. I love Smiley.
He was involved with Nexus back in the day. So
still a big supporter.
Got to give props though, right? The man helped lay some framework, and this project is I'm still blown away at how much of a hidden gem it is.
More people
should know about it. Yeah. So as far as a hybrid approach though, Bryce, I think that a hybrid approach is one of the best possible things to do moving forward the way that we achieve consensus is less important than the fact that we achieve consensus in a decentralized way. So if people can innovate proof of work / proof of stake hybrid systems that prevent Mr. Moneybags from coming in and just buying up coins and controlling the network through proof of stake and purchase attacks, we'll call it, then great. Keep on innovating. Don't stop. I don't care what the maxis say. Don't stop innovating. Right? Like, this is great.
Well said. Well said. You got anything you want to add to that, Mr. Sean?
I do.
I got to plug my computer in while you're talking.
Frank wants to know if I have a really badass computer that my son built me that he keeps giving me crap about because I haven't moved all my old stuff over to the new one. But I have an RTX 2060 Super graphics card in there. It's really dope, but I really need to move everything over. And I was wondering if I could actually mine on it, which I didn't think there was any hope of that, but now, yeah, I guess there is. I want to get a little tinfoil hat, and I really didn't want to do this. I thought we were going to keep it short, just go over the news. But
well, I was thinking real quick. I wanted to say, like, all the news stuff that I had picked out. Let's just kind of like throw that off to the side because I think that this
has to do with some of that.
More interesting.
This has to do with some of the news. It'll go into it.
Okay.
Getting back to the centralization of mining. And I think you probably have this thought in your head too, that everyone's always said that one of the easiest ways, crypto, the market was so small, any government could just come in and buy it all. They could take it over with money. But I think one of the better ways would be to take over the mining. That's how they would actually really take control. I thought, being kind of a conspiracy guy and just not trusting when it comes to any kind of really authority, because power corrupts, when Musk, when all the China FUD came out of nowhere, a couple months back, and then that's when China first started actually coming down on miners, and then the miners started to move out, and they were moving to North America, which everyone thought, oh, that's good, because the Chinese government is, of course, the worst government that there is. Not that any government is good, but it would be. I would rather have miners in Canada, U.S., even Mexico, Brazil, wherever, versus there. But then all of a sudden, Musk was like involved in it, and then like one weekend, he literally put out a tweet. I met with the North American Bitcoin miners, and I always make the joke like they all hang out at some bar, like cops. Every TV show, like all cops hang out in one bar. But like all the miners hang out together. Like I talked to the North American Bitcoin miners, and I think it was Michael Sayer, some other like billionaire, that he said, "Oh yeah, I set this meeting up, and we had this meeting, and we formed the North American Bitcoin Mining Council." And that doesn't happen. Those people don't even talk to other people before their lawyers talk to them, before all this stuff is cleared. That takes months, and it was portrayed to the masses that it was literally like a weekend thing, and now there's this mining council. It seems like a concerted effort to centralize it for the good of regulation or whatever it is. But it really rubbed me the wrong way, and it really makes me nervous that there's some other goal in mind. So do you have any thoughts on that whole situation that I'm sure you've followed?
Yeah, Satoshi Sean, first off, I really appreciate that you brought that up. Something that has been making the news cycle recently is ESG. This is related to what you're saying. And I actually had to look that acronym up because immediately for me, I was like, ESG, is that like electrostatic gravitation? What the crap is ESG? Like, I gotta educate myself here.
Like a new KSG?
Yeah, I'm like, what is going on? Because everyone's talking about it as though like we've just always used this word. But we haven't always just used this word. Like, help me out. When you use an acronym, put it in parentheses, spell it out for me. I'm a dumb, but I read English. So like, help me.
Environmental social governance?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
There's kind of there's a silent C too, which is corporate governance, right? So environmental, social, and corporate governance, meaning that I'm going to paraphrase here and use my own words. It's just moral posturing. We're doing this for the environment. We're doing this to be socially appropriate. And we need to make sure that people are in line. So we're going to create some sort of like environmental and social governance. This group, right? The North American like Bitcoin Miners Association is like, where did you guys come from? Who elected you? And we don't want to elect you. Like there's a block subsidy. Satoshi laid it out in the white paper and in all the early emails and everything. There's an incentive in place. We don't need you. Like, you want people to use renewables? There's a financial reason for using renewables already. We don't need you to tell us that. So I'm with you. But ESG, when you see it, if anyone's using that acronym with a straight face, just turn around and walk away. Do not dignify their articles or the rest of the conversation with your attention. Just don't treat it seriously. It's moral posturing in the same way that words like woke got co-opted by the wrong people, right? Like it was a very beautiful thing in the beginning, and then it became this moral posturing thing that doesn't help anyone. ESG is the same thing. You're not helping people if you promote those kinds of measures, because you're handing the reins back over to people who want to become the new masters. Don't fall for it.
That makes sense. I like the way you put that too. When we talk about too, like what's going on with China, there's a kind of a theory that I've been that I was thinking, and then I've heard a couple more people talking about it, about the idea that China's not necessarily cracking down on the mining aspect. I think what they're doing is strategically distributing their mining locations around the world so that it's not in one area, because we knew a lot of it was being done like in a Three Gorge area. A lot of people were speculating what was going to happen when the dam broke and things to that effect. So instead of having all the China mining being done in China, the Chinese companies move to other nations and just distribute their network all over the planet in that sense. So it's not as if they're leaving China, it's as if they're expanding China's operations. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think there's something to that, Rice. I really do. And here's why. Manufacturing of ASIC mining equipment and of all Bitcoin mining equipment, it's still going to take place in China. It's still going to take place in Taiwan, where all the GPUs are made. And the ASICs, again, in mainland China, all the other factories there. A dirty secret of that industry is that when they break in these miners to ensure that they have the right tolerances, that they're they've passed quality control, they're just mining on them for like a week or two or a month. Oftentimes they'll mine all the way up to the point that they see that profit is starting to dip, and then they start to deliver all the orders that they've had outstanding for like 3 months. So there's quite a bit of like, the whole thing just stinks. The whole thing. Mm-hmm. So what you're proposing there, I think that's a plausible theory, because they're still going to mine there in the factories for as long as they can before they ship that off.
That makes sense too. I like, and because you have a lot more, expertise in this area, is one of the reasons why I wanted to ask you. Like if I wanted to ask somebody about NFTs, I would hit up someone like Crypto Stash or Ken Bozak. But if I want to know about mining, I like to hit you up. So I appreciate you sharing that information.
Frank Mann is saying something that really hits me. That there's going to be like a currency war. And that's being thrown around by governments now. Especially one of the news we were going to go over is how the digital yuan is going to be a huge threat to the dollar's hegemony. And I've heard a lot of rumblings in government that the next real, I didn't want to call it a Cold War, because it's much more hot than a Cold War. It's not, boots on the ground, but it's a lot more, it's going to affect people of those countries a lot more than the Cold War did. Because I think that the next conflicts are going to be financial. And that's what we've been doing. Well, what the U.S. has been doing for, decades. All of our weapons have been the weaponized dollar. And they've been using it, and the rest of the world has kind of learned, and I think those are going to be the battles that are upcoming. Hey Phil, good to see you. If you pull up that article from about Dogecoin and Musk, I really don't like how
this one here.
No, that's Benzinga. Yeah, that one. If you scroll down, man, and Cointelegraph calls him the Doge Father. And
no, he's I like what I was on BitBoy Crypto show earlier for Around the Blockchain. He calls him Muskrat.
Yeah, but that's how it should
a lot
be, man.
better. Muskrat is a way better name for that weasel.
And it really bugs me that Cointelegraph is like on board with this, keeping him propped up. He was detrimental. He is the antithesis of what crypto is supposed to be. He was a centralized figure, and it's annoying that he became such a centralized, powerful figure, having not done anything. It'd be different, like back in the last run when Vitalik was, worshipped. Okay, it's Vitalik. He's done something. He's built something. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's an actual crypto. He's earned that centralization, even though it's bad. But with Musk, it really made no sense whatsoever. You know what I mean? And the fact that it's being perpetuated by our team with Cointelegraph is annoying. It really needs to stop.
What you need to put in consideration too, though, is when we think about from a tinfoil hat perspective with the mainstream and the mainstream media being controlled by like 4 conglomerates or 4 companies, 4 corporations, or even less. Think about who owns Cointelegraph, and then think about all the manipulation that's done in the space. And I would just say Elon Musk is just one of those manipulators, and the owners behind Cointelegraph, you'll see, are Digital Currency Group. I'm not a big fan of Digital Currency Group. There's a lot of manipulation that goes on through anything that they get their hands in, as far as owning stock, whatever. They tend to try to do what they can to control. So this is just, to me, articles like this, like calling Muskrat the Doge Father, is just trying to keep with their agenda, and just reinforcing that, when the rest of the crypto space is like, no, screw this guy. Like we don't need to be looking up and saying thank you to Elon Musk. We don't need Elon Musk.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with that more strongly. The original founder and core developer of Doge was a self-professed Marxist, and he did the entire thing as a poke in the eye to Bitcoin. That's why it has infinite emissions. That's why it has infinite inflation. That's precisely why it does all the other stuff that it does. Now, technologically, yeah, it runs. But it's funny. It's funny you bring this up. Earlier this morning, I was on Crypto Windio's channel, and we were talking a little bit about Elon and Doge and stuff. Did you know that at a certain point in the last 2 years during the bear market, Doge fell to about 12 full nodes? It almost died.
No,
it almost went chain dead.
Wow.
I mean, it came back from the dead. And the fact that Doge is now experiencing this massive resurgence, I mean, whatever, people are participating now. I don't want to, it's obviously it didn't die, but it wasn't for lack of trying, man. I mean, it was almost gone. So when people say like, oh, it's so amazing, and look at Elon, the Doge Father, it's like, it takes you it takes you 5 minutes to do a little bit of research. Well, most blockchains are, they are, and that's the beauty of them. But there's, right, what's our trade-offs, right? Slow, kind of inefficient. Then for paranoid people, right? It's great for us in the sort of like prepper and, anti-authoritarian camp, right? It's like, no, we can dig our heels in, and you can't force changes too fast. Like, don't force me. Give me better incentives, and I'll share. But like, I just don't. I'm with you. The whole thing is just silly, and the fact that Doge came so close to dying. Yes. A dozen full nodes.
Now, something I will say though, and this is something that and this is the reason why I like having conversations with different people who I respect in the space. So I was having a conversation with Crypto Blood, and he was bringing up the fact that because this is more of a deflationary or an inflationary currency, because there's no market cap, there's always more being produced. So in a sense, it would be really a good cryptocurrency to use as a payment method, because for the people who are like, there's only 21 million Bitcoin, I don't want to use my Bitcoin to buy coffee.
Would be a better replacement for a global currency than Bitcoin would, because of its features.
I don't know about a global currency, not necessarily, but being a globally used currency, yeah. I could see that, but not
I
like a
remember that
world reserve currency kind of
he said
status.
that when it comes to replacing the dollar for what it's used for, that Doge was a better replacement because of those attributes.
Yeah, see, that's a
And
crazy
it was
part.
surprising when he
Yeah,
when
see,
you know he went over it.
yeah, see, and I'm glad you brought that up. Also, I respect the heck out of Crypto Blood, and I think I think where he's going with that, it makes sense fundamentally. Where I differ, in my opinion, about Doge from Crypto Blood, is that the technological advancements necessary to make it scale the way that Elon pretends that he's going to be able to magically fix. It's about as hand wavy as the scaling debate in Bitcoin was in 2015. It's like Homeboy basically missed out on like 5 years of blockchain history and is starting from scratch. He's doing like the 101 level homework, and guess what? He's writing us his Cribs notes in fucking cram. Sorry.
Yeah, I've seen
Like,
Jared Tate from Digibyte trying to school him on just protocol and how blockchain technology works.
yeah, he has to make his own mistakes, but there's a bunch of people who are along for the ride who are like hedging their bets against this brand new entrant's mistakes. Elon Musk he's a very intelligent guy. He's hired really good people along the way. He's acquired really good companies and good tech along the way and promoted the snot out of it and made it look really good. But let's look at what he does, because his actions speak louder than his words. He's talking about Doge. What did his company do? They bought tons of Bitcoin. Then they sold just a little bit, and they earned more this last quarter from holding that Bitcoin than from selling cars.
Yeah.
Come on, really?
But not, and yeah, obviously we didn't see that happen with Doge. I mean, that's why I say there's a lot of coordinated manipulation that's being done.
Yeah, that's a whole show, man. Because when he came out and he stopped taking Bitcoin and all that and started the whole, Bitcoin's bad because of the environment, and that went along with that whole time, and that started the whole big complaint about that. That's when me and Rice found out that Tesla made more money from government subsidies than they did from selling the cars. So that like we said, the weaponized dollar, man. I mean, that's how the government works. That's why the government hates Texas so much, because we're not a welfare state. We give the government more money than we take. There's nothing they can do to us financially that can hurt us. So they don't have that power over us where they have over most states. But when I learned that, it's always follow the money is like the oldest thing. That is a huge thing. That was a huge thing when me and Rice learned that. We're like, really? Like, yeah, I think it was Crypto Blood that told us that.
It might have been Crypto Blood. But yeah, it's well, I mean, when you get into government subsidy stuff too, I mean, even Tron, they got government subsidies from the United States. Justin Sun was bragging about, because they're based, part of their base is in San Francisco.
Yeah, that was a slap to the face, man, to see that Justin Sun applied for and was awarded millions of dollars of stimulus money.
And went and bragged about it too, like, his Chinese buddies. I'm not anti-China. I'm not anti-Chinese people. I'm anti the communist government. So when I refer to that, that's usually what I'm referring to. I'm not speaking about China as a whole. Yeah,
the Chinese government it's the worst, man. They're doing Hitler right. They are. If you look, they're committing genocide and no one's talking about it. They have
Hitler right.
They're locking. I mean, they've grown. Yeah. It's all the stuff that they're doing, but they took care of the money first, and then they went that route rather than go try to take things over militarily. Now stuff like Hong Kong, they'll probably go military, but yeah, they're the worst, man.
Yeah, I think that's funny the way you framed that too. Here's the thing. Germany at that time in history, they didn't have the surveillance apparatus that China has right now and social credit scores. So heaven help the Chinese people. I'm with you, Rice. Like, nothing against Chinese people, and my heart goes out to the Chinese people who are victims to some of this. They're just in a circumstance that's very difficult for them to change. But yeah, the authoritarian regime that they live under, folks, take a page out of Hong Kong's playbook and grow yourself a little more spirit of freedom.
Yeah, or cojones or something like that. But
yeah.
So moving on from the Doge, the Shiba stuff, all the doggy coins that have been coming out, the meme coins, the copiers. We got the Shiba Swap DEX that was launched in 2 days. It captured $1.5 billion locked up, which in turn bumped the Ethereum fees higher. And then also, this is an article that Sean was sharing where it failed a DeFi safety review. I haven't had a chance to really review this article, safety review, but I thought it was interesting that anytime we're seeing any sort of network effect where people are going and using the Ethereum blockchain and there's a lot of transactions taking place, we end up having higher fees, which they're saying the London hard fork is going to help fix. So I guess it's kind of cool to combine the fact that it's making ETH fees higher, the failing the safety review, and then since we're talking about ETH fees being higher, we can also kind of add in the idea of the London hard fork, which is supposed to reduce the fees and burn off part of the supply in a deflationary event. So
I don't really even want to go over this because I have a lot of Shiba. Let me tell you, I mean a lot.
You have a lot of Shiba?
Yeah, like a 10 buttloads. I mean, it's a lot.
Were you buying it on a hype or what? I have to say I own zero Shiba.
I bought it before the hype, did well, and then I just been trading it, and I've like 3x'd it because it swings, man. You know, I'm selling high, buying low, selling high, buying low. But so they launched the DEX, and this goes back to like one of crypto's oldest problems, man. The hype engine, and how things move so fast in crypto.
That's why they say buy the rumor, sell the news.
So they launched the DEX. They get $1.5 billion. That's ridiculous amount of money
in a single day. It had $1 billion locked up in a single day. It was 1.5 in 2 days.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Okay, but so they failed the test so bad. What was it? The wording couldn't be any stronger on it. They said that this was the very definition of this is the very definition of what absolute negligence looks like.
Well, it says yesterday it was noticed that all funds in Shiba Swap could be drained by one Ethereum account. Shiba Swap then switched ownership to a new Gnosis multi-sig with unknown signers and fresh addresses. The problem is it's possible to create a multi-sig and own all the keys yourself.
Yep. This is the security theater, man. Are we even surprised anymore? It's like all the rugs that we experienced last summer.
I like that. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's like grab some popcorn, bro. Like, here we go again. Is this your favorite show? This is my favorite show. Let's get front row seats. Just don't hop into the DEX because you could get wrecked, right? Like whatever it is. Like we've just seen this so many times. So like KuCoin has a little swap platform now too with their own token. Like I'm getting tired, man. It's like whack-a-mole.
KuCoin has like a swap, like a DEX.
Yes, it's like a KuSwap or something.
What is it running off of?
I don't even know. Some EVM compatible.
Everybody's got a swap now. It's just like there's. I need to come up with a rice swap. I mean, being that there's all these other food swaps.
Bro, you could make a killing, and you could do it, honestly, fairly by having multi-sig that definitely more than one person controls. Definitely.
That is crazy. You got anything you want to add to this, Sean?
Yeah, man. Your token could be the rice, and then like the stable one could be like a rice token.
Well, if I have like a coin, like if I do something like what London Hard Fork is doing with burning off some, I could have a rice burner event.
yeah. Staking through the rice.
So many cool things with rice, man. When I'm mad, I can be steamed up. If I'm meditating, I can be jasmine rice.
And hey, here's the thing: like when you're going crazy, it's rice balls to the wall.
Rice balls to the wall.
Yeah,
I love it.
Rally,
sweet. Baby, you making my right song rain. You know what I mean?
The atomic unit can be the grain, right?
What I really don't get about these things right here, though, and looking at it, is just why so many people really get involved on the hype of this stuff and don't really try to do any research before doing stuff. and then have these events where rug pulls take place, or someone's got access to pulling all the funds.
We went full circle back to the beginning. Musk, all these people that are hyped in. There's people that are, so many people have come into crypto now that know absolutely nothing about Bitcoin. All of us, we learned about the basics, and that's how we got in. Some people, they got Ethereum maybe, but when it comes to nowadays, I mean, there's literally people who their first crypto they ever had any interaction with, or in some cases ever heard of, was Doge. I mean, I can't imagine that. But there are people who literally, they heard about Doge before Bitcoin. So even saying that, I'm sure people are like, no, but really, there's millennials and other people that the first thing they heard of, or even older people, the first thing they heard of was Doge. They know nothing about, obviously, the white paper. They know nothing about all that, the reason for it. It's just 100% hype is all they've ever heard of and learned. And all they know is what, Rote says, dollar go up. Dollar go up.
This video is crazy. This dude's just showing up how he can create a multi-sig wallet and have all the addresses be his.
That he's doing the Lord's work right there. Bless that child.
Like the shush, don't tell. Oh my God, rolling on the floor laughing.
Yeah, it's funny. So Satoshi Sean, like you mentioned about people having their first exposure be to Doge. Funny story. An old coworker of mine from Samsung Telecom reached out to me a while ago, and I've been talking to him for years about Bitcoin and getting off zero with Bitcoin, like whatever, some small amount. And the whole time he's, I don't want to hear about that. No, it's just it's a greater fool game. You just want to sell me your bags when they go up, because I know you bought all your Bitcoins at $1. I'm sure you did. I'm like, bro, I wish. But like that was his story. He was sticking to it. Hits me up out of the blue a couple months ago and says, Seth, I think I want to get my first crypto. I'm ready. I want to get some Doge. I'm like, bro, what? It was before this pump. So maybe he had some insight into the Wall Street bets, whisperings there. Maybe he knew some people. But like still, I was kind of dismayed to hear him say, like, I'm going to get off zero with Doge.
Yeah. And I mean, I can understand my first coin I actually bought was Litecoin, because I could own a whole Litecoin or some kind of thinking like that. But still, people like heard about Bitcoin. People, understood about it. And the reason, the reason why, like Rice was saying, that people are just throwing their money and not researching anything when it comes to security, when it comes to buyer beware, is because they know absolutely nothing. It's not knowing that much. I mean, they know absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. But the other side of it is that, and you gentlemen were here for DeFi Summer 1.0. Now that we're going into 2.0, right, on the second layers and the side chains and stuff like Polygon, whatever.
Yeah,
like it's more of the same, right? But DeFi Summer, if you didn't degen into the first whisperings of a new coin or a new project that you heard of, you were late, right? If you waited twice, you were late. And so if you put 100 here, 100 there, 100 here, 100 there, 5 of them rug, right? And they're just gone. So it's $500 is the cost of doing business. You get that 6th one or the 12th one, whatever it takes, like to get that 10th one. That one does 100x, and you're like, okay, cool, I'm good, I made it. Like those losses are fine. They're absorbed in this one winner. So that's just happening all over again. People who are just thinking like, okay, in some cases they do know better. They used to read white papers. They used to talk to developers and stuff and check out the Telegram groups and make sure everything was legit and scan through GitHub to make sure the commits weren't bogus. And now they're like, nah, I'm just going to put even just like a $5 on that one and on that one and that one, that one, that one. I'm playing red. I'm playing black. I'm playing, odds and evens. Like
we've grown so much now. It's not now. It's $1.5 billion in 2 days. And there are people that don't know what GitHub is, let alone look at it. They don't know what it is.
Yeah,
it's a whole
to compliment all those guys. But you got all these people who they lived through all that and they did do all the right things. And this summer they're like, shine it. There's no alpha in doing that. So they're jumping straight in, and worse, they're some of the worst like scumbag pump dumpers, right? Like because they should know better, but then they realize like, oh, sweet, we got fresh meat coming in from TikTok, right, and from Wall Street bets and stuff. We got new people to dump our bags on. It's kind of messed up.
I get what you're saying though, and the other problem is too though, like especially like here in the United States where we have all the stimulus money that was given out. I mean, people have money to play with that wasn't necessarily theirs and that they had to account for anything. So people a lot of times were like, what can I go out and spend this money on? So it kind of reminds me of like my dad used to teach me, if I gave you a car, you wouldn't care about the car. If you buy the car, you'll care about it. So if you're given money and you're just throwing it away investments, some people may not be taking the time to research like they should properly because they may not be looking at it as money that they had to go out and earn and something like that. So, and I mean, unfortunately, and then, when you have the mainstream news hyping things up and, that is at the point that people shouldn't be listening because that's the worst time to get involved is when it's stuff's being hyped up on the mainstream news. It's kind of crazy to think about. I guess we'll cut out a few of the other news stories and kind of wrap up with this one. Because I did want to get your point of view as a miner mining Ethereum, how you think going into a situation where we're reducing transaction fees, which reduces the amount of coins that a miner would get, and then the idea that we're going to be moving to a proof of stake and no more mining, how all that will develop. What are your thoughts on this whole event, the London hard fork, and the idea of
I just wanted to get you guys your opinions on.
Yeah.
Just after this, it's just the one about Dorsey. That's the one to talk about that.
Which Dorsey. One, man? Dorsey's he's making moves. There's a lot of fun news about Jack Dorsey and Square and stuff.
Yeah, they're developing the hardware wallet. Mm-hmm. Like we're talking about Musk. We're talking about personalities. Would you not trust the hardware wallet if you don't trust him?
I'm not in the boat that I don't necessarily trust Jack Dorsey. A lot of times I'm playing devil's advocate in this because it still looks as if Jack Dorsey is very supportive of Bitcoin and wants to do good things for Bitcoin overall. He seems to have kind of a philanthropist kind of attitude with a lot of things. A lot of the negativity that people are talking about and associating with like Twitter and censorship and things. Yeah. If you go back and look at what was occurring, and this is just devil's advocate giving somebody to think about something from a different perspective. But you had new shareholders that had a large share, held a lot of shares in Twitter that were trying to force Jack Dorsey out of the company. So the beginning of 2020, like Jack Dorsey was on his way out as CEO of Twitter. Ultimately, he was able to survive, but he's had to, I think, compromise on some of the things that he's done within the corporation. Now, if you separate Twitter and take out Twitter out of the equation and look at what Square and what he's doing for Bitcoin, I say that those are all positive things. I can't necessarily say that I would put my entire crypto collection or even a large amount of my crypto on a hardware wallet from Jack Dorsey. But in that regard, knowing that you could just get a cell phone that you don't have a SIM card in, that you have Wi-Fi service, you can just, I would feel a lot more safe in using what I call a poor man's hardware wallet, putting it on my.
Call it that? Where'd you get that term from?
I don't think you said it.
Oh my God! Yes, I did.
I think a lot of other people said it. I don't think you're the very first original originator of poor man hardware wallet. Okay,
that's my phrase. I made that.
But I think that's more trustworthy to me than even a Ledger in that aspect, because then who actually owns Ledger? Who is the people behind the company, and like what information can they potentially get from those devices?
You don't think about that when it's Ledger. But when it's Dorsey, that's when you think about it. And then you think about who's Ledger, that's when it opens up all those doors and you start thinking about stuff you never really thought about.
Yeah, security is it's a tricky thing, guys. So you call it a poor man's hardware wallet, call it a hacked man's hardware wallet. There are threat vectors everywhere, right? It all depends on your threat model, right? Like, so depending on what you absolutely need to defend against, There you can have the most fancy hardware wallet ever created. Somebody out there is going to go get that $5 wrench and get the passphrase from you, right? Like, there's no perfect solution, right? We live in a perfect world.
No, I agree. I mean, people say that Bitcoin is unconfiscatable, but yet I think the Bulgarian government was able to confiscate more Bitcoin from criminals than any other government organization, and is based off their holdings of Bitcoin, probably one of the wealthiest nations.
Jeez, I wouldn't be shocked to see that they haven't outlawed torture there. If I sorry to use that word on your live stream, man. I hope I don't get
Oh no, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be all right. It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, let's I definitely want to get what you have to say about the Dorsey hardware wallet thing. And I don't want to take a lot of time up with the Ethereum deflationary event. I just want to kind of get your perspective, what you thought about it.
Sure. Just briefly, hardware wallets. I'm in the process of evaluating several. So disclosure, I get testing and evaluation models sent to me, as I'm sure you guys do too, right? So you'll have hardware wallets sent to you. I'm at the point right now where I'm going to be mentioned like poor man's hardware wallet out of a decommissioned phone. I just tried out the LEPAL, right, Titan, which is essentially just an Android device with no radios on it. And I'm going to be evaluating that against the SecuX, which has a
Seth.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, yeah. So I've got a couple more coming now, and it's taken me a while to kind of turn that corner with content creation. But something that is a defining characteristic of hardware wallets that are worth my money, not my time to just evaluate, but worth my money and worth my crypto actually putting on safely, is whether or not it has something called a secure element. If it doesn't have a secure element, like an actual encrypted key store or private store on the device, then it's a question of somebody else just getting physical access to that device, whether it's a decommissioned phone or whatever else, powering the thing on, and then if needs be, like, hey, does it have a USB port? Cool. There's a hacker that can fix that problem. They can get past that hurdle. Does it require some kind of biometric authentication, right, with a fingerprint or eye scan? Well, I know a guy that can handle that too. Once it falls into the physical possession of an attacker, it's only a question of time. And for hardware wallets, if it has a secure encrypted element, then I'm feeling a lot better about that. Some of the wallets, like the Ledger, for as much as we question who runs this thing, they have a very difficult to penetrate security model built in with their encrypted key store or with their secure element on it. So even though it's closed source for the most part, it still has the best track record in terms of the device itself not getting hacked. And if Dorsey's team, if they don't start there, that's it. It's game over for me. I'm just not going to track them anymore. I'm not going to bother. I'm not even going to ask them for a model to evaluate because it won't be worth my time.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. And I like the way you put that. I mean, there is a reason why a lot of people, and I wasn't trying to just like single out Ledger necessarily, but there is a reason why Ledger has been the most endorsed cryptocurrency wallet out there.
100%. And that secure element, it can't be overstated how much better that is. And I like Trezor, and the user experience on Trezor is great, but it doesn't have a secure element. And I love that Trezor is fully open source so that third parties can evaluate the code and audit it, good guys and bad guys alike. Everybody can see the code and make sure that it's up to snuff. But if the physical device falls in the possession of another person, Trezor is just plain and simple not as secure because it lacks that secure element, that encrypted secure element.
I was trying to look up, there's a couple new wallets that are getting ready to come out. One that's been talked about for over a year and talking about having superior encryption and such, kind of above a lot of the other devices that are out now. I just can't remember the name of it to even remember what it was to bring it up.
That's a bull market, man. We're going to keep on seeing. I mean, money is cheap right now. If your company's been holding Bitcoin, all of a sudden your operating budget is like 10x what it was last year. So
yeah, that is another good way of looking at it. Do you have anything you want to add, Sean, to the Seth, to the Ethereum element
Yeah, so the London hard fork, it's a very contentious thing for a lot of miners, right? Because the fees being burned are not straight ahead just from the full block reward or for the full block subsidy. It comes specifically from the mining reward, from the security reward. I'll just reframe that. Let's not call it a mining reward because we know what mining does. It secures the network. So the Ethereum core developers believe that it's in your best interest to take funds that would have been used to secure the network and cut them. They want to cut your security on your Ethereum and your ERC20 token holdings,
which we think would be would discourage people from wanting to continue to mine because it's reducing their fees.
Yep. That said, there are other aspects of mining and getting rewards from Ethereum. Part of that has to do with transaction volume and other fees. Right now, you mentioned before with Shiba Swap, but tokens that are being issued on top of Ethereum, well, that transaction volume and those fees, those help out miners as well. So DeFi Summer 1.0, we were all like, all right, awesome. Miners are back in business. This is great. We're making money. And now DeFi Summer 2.0, with all this other stuff coming out, we're happy as clams because we're like, dude, if you want to go crazy with DeFi and you want to try to break Ethereum, go ahead and see how far you can break it. We'll be here to secure you.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so it's it does work for us. There is something that I wanted to add to the conversation, and if I may, what I'm going to do, I'm going to jump out of the way here and just show you my screen. I don't know if that can go full screen.
Yeah, hold on one second. Let me I can actually make it full screen for you too. So hold on one second. Let me get this bad boy up.
Awesome.
That didn't work. Here we go. No, why is that not working? Bear with me, dude.
Sure.
Okay. That didn't work either. I just got to stop screen sharing what I'm screen sharing. Let me remove this.
Oh, sorry about that. I'm not sure if you got a layout that'll show mine larger. But
yeah, no, it just took me a minute, man. I'm just kind of, there we go. Okay. It's up.
So I just wanted to briefly share whattomine.com, and this is for Satoshi Sean's benefit. Here is just the base model RTX 2060, not the 2060 Super that you have. What you have is going to perform a little better than this. If you just click on that one model right there and then input the number that you have, which probably just 1 in that system, and then click on calculate, then you will all the calculations will be done for you. Input the amount of the cost for your power wherever you are, like 10, 12, 14 cents.
0.79.
Dang, bro, I gotta go couch surfing your place. No, I gotta go to your spot. I'm done over here. That's it. I give up on where I live.
That's what your electricity cost is?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great. So 0.079 cents. You can put whatever your favorite exchanges are here and only leave the exchanges that you're likely to sell coins. And then
that site is awesome.
It's perfect, right? So calculate, and at the top of the list, there's Ethereum. You're doing $1.80 a day in
What's
profit.
The site?
Whattomine.com.
Whattomine.com. Okay, cool.
Yep. And then if you want to look at other options, you asked me what I like for mining. Well, you got some great options here. High liquidity in Ravencoin and in Infero. And it's not quite as much profit, but if you lost faith in Ethereum, you could fall back to these in a pinch.
That's a cool calculator. So it goes GPU, ASIC. When it says Litecoin Plus, what does that mean? I'm gonna scroll down. What is that like? Oh, that's like because I know that Doge is kind of piggybacking off of Litecoin.
Yes. So Litecoin and Doge use the same algorithm, and if you have even just a little USB miners, they're back in the money on Doge and Litecoin. It's crazy.
The USB ones, the script miners.
Yep.
So when you're mining Litecoin, you're mining Doge as well.
That's correct. It does something called merge mining.
If you happen to win that block reward, you win the block reward for both. That's
accurate. Yes.
Okay. Or do they have the same block time, or is there more blocks?
That's a good question. I think it might be staggered. So off the top of my head, I don't recall the block time for.
I forgot about that. I forgot Doge was like a bonus, like a secondary thing. You know what I mean? You were mining something, and you also got Doge.
And how do you do that to piggyback off of something? Like, could anybody do that so that you're mining like 10 different coins when you're mining Litecoin?
Well, unfortunately, it doesn't work quite like that. The merge mining needs to be initiated by the developers, needs to be permitted by the developers, and then supported by the pool. So this was possible to have, say, like 3 different coins mined using some of the Monero ASICs that came out in 2018. And it got crazy there for a minute. There were some miners that they managed to spoof the hash rate from their miner, from their ASIC rig on 2 different pools that both merge mines. So they were minimum getting block rewards from 3 different coins and sometimes 4. But that takes some doing. It's not something that just anybody can do. And at least for right now, with script mining for Doge and for Litecoin, I'm not aware of other coins that you could do that with.
Okay. I'm still curious. I mean, like I didn't know anything about Doge being like that until the hype this year with Doge. When there started being a lot more talk, because it wasn't a coin that I was really even interested in learning any of the fundamentals or technicals of. It didn't make sense to me to do that.
Yeah, I hear you, man. So I'll jump out of this desktop view if you'd like.
That's cool.
But, yeah, What to Mine is it's a great tool. This is something that everybody who's interested in mining should be aware of. Totally free resource. It's not flawless, but it's one of the more accurate tools.
Well, no, it's a cool tool though as well. I mean, like I said, I like the fact that you could change up the tabs because that way, if you have ASIC miners, can
I bust out my old ASICs and from 2018?
Oh yeah,
be profitable
from 2018. Very likely you're back in the money. I would say, if anything, you might need to, with the ASICs, look into liquid immersion cooling. Hit me up afterwards and let's make this happen for you, man. That'd be cool to see you start passively pulling down a couple dozen bucks a day. It's not much, but it's something.
Five miners.
Okay, we're gonna have some fun.
See, I've never mined anything before, and I did
buy
on
fire with them.
I bought a new computer that's like a gaming computer, so I mean it's probably set up to where I could mine, but I haven't attempted it. The computers I had before weren't really that great.
Sure. So your gaming system, do you know what GPU it has?
Yeah, let me go into information real quick.
What about old Sia miners?
You might be back in the money for some of the Sia miners too.
Really?
Maybe. Yeah, like I wouldn't rule it out. I haven't checked out the numbers lately, but I've been checked by stuff that has come back from the dead, like the D3, the old Dash miner that's making money again. And it's like, that was barely profitable in 2018, back in the money again.
Yeah, I think I have a D3. What did I have? I gotta find him. It's been so long. After the room caught on fire, I was like, all right, fine, I won't mine here anymore.
Did you have a 240 volt circuit run or no?
I had a regular one in it.
So what information do you need, Seth?
The model of the GPU in your rig.
Okay, I mean this is it's an Asus laptop that's using an AMD Ryzen 7 Radeon Graphics 2.9. Where am I finding my GPU information? Because I'm looking at in my device.
Where it says Radeon Graphics 2.9, it should be able to tell you. You might need to go into the hardware manager for Windows.
Bryce, I love you, but I will be teasing you for a very long time.
What? Because I've never mined anything?
No, because of your Asus computer.
Oh,
I have an Asus, you see. Yes.
What do you call it? Asus? What do you call it? A tomato?
I call it Aces, what everyone else does. I'm not from, the upper class. We have Asus miners.
You need
Jeez, bring me my Asus. I have to look something up.
Pinky raised. You have to raise your pinky before you call it that.
Asus.
How do you type when you have your pinkies up?
Yeah, I'm trying to go into my hardware settings, and I'm still not. Let me try to look it up this way. Device manager.
There you go, device manager.
Okay.
You might have it like integrated into the motherboard or something, and then it's not.
Now you will on that laptop. The issue is, and it's again, it sounds crazy, but with profits being what they are, I know people who are mining successfully on laptops with integrated GPUs and still making money. It's crazy right now.
Okay, so I've got this pulled up, but I'm not sure where to click at.
Okay, so you have that little drop down of all the different devices stacked on top of each other, and you'll have just down below disk drives, display adapters. That guy.
Display adapters. Okay.
So drop that down.
Okay, so I've got the AMD Radeon graphics and NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2060.
Okay, you got I mean, that's basically the same profit profile that Satoshi Sean has right now. You're going to be almost $2 per day in profit.
$2 per day. Now, this NVIDIA GeForce 2060, they, as far as I was concerned, like this was one of the top NVIDIA cards up until they put out the 3000 series.
Yeah, that's accurate. And it still holds its own. I mean, even with gaming, and if you got RTX enabled titles and stuff,
that's what my son told me. He said there's only one that was coming out that was better, and I got the super one. So whatever the difference in the super is.
Okay.
It's different from the extra and the mega. I'm joking. It is good though.
Like the penis pills. Yeah,
pretty much. NVIDIA started playing some shenanigans though with the RTX 2000 series cards by adding those denominators, the super and some of the other, like the special and the super, and it got a little bit weird at retail because we were like, how can you tell which one is which? So it was like
hairspray in the 90s.
Yeah, the dry look.
Super mega.
You needed the dry look though if you were making potato cannons in the 90s.
I miss those hairsprays that you could put your lighter up and make little flames and little blowtorches.
Dude,
the dry look always looked better.
I used to use so much hairspray that I could go to sleep and wake up and my hair was still perfect, man.
You had hair?
I just shut up.
A lot of it or what?
I cut my finger on my hair once, man. I used so much Aquanet Ultra Super Mega Hold, the white can. It's liquid plastic, man.
Ultra Super Mega Hold.
Yeah, the original Flex Seal in a can.
Sweet.
Now that's some damage.
Well, Seth, man, I really appreciate you joining us again on short notice, and we'll definitely have to do this again. And I'd love to see you guys get together and maybe do some videos talking about setting up some miners, or something like that even on Sean's show. That would be cool.
Heck yeah, Sean! Let's get you some money, man. Let's get the block reward going your way.
That piece of crap channel.
I'm trying to pulling up a screen share now, so I can get everybody's stuff shared again, because I definitely want to encourage people to head over to Mine Your Biz YouTube channel and make sure you subscribed. Close to the 10,000 mark, so let's get them over 10,000, and then let's just keep going. Let's just keep going up, and then make sure you're checking out the website, which is mineyour.biz, and also make sure you're subscribed over at Satoshi Sean's channel if you're not already subscribed. Seth, you got anything you want to add before we wrap things up?
Yeah, I've got to publicize this because if I don't keep myself accountable, it's going to be really easy to weasel my way out. But I had Adam Charles on my channel earlier on today, and we have a little gentleman's bet going. Got a wager on the fight this weekend.
Okay.
If McGregor wins, which is what he thinks is going to happen, there's a penalty for me. But if Poirier wins, he has to not only grow a beard out, but he has to dye it black so he looks like me. This is Adam Charles.
Okay, this wouldn't be the first time Adam Charles dresses up as another content creator or a YouTuber, because the first time I met Adam Charles was in 2018 at the first World Crypto Con, and it was Halloween because that's when the Satoshi white paper, the Bitcoin white paper, came out in 2008, Halloween, and he was dressed as Ken Bozak.
Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, that's the funny thing, man. Only Adam Charles would do that, and B would get away with
Adam.
it.
He's a unique dude, though.
Yeah, no, he's great. But so that's the thing. That's the penalty, is that if Poirier wins, he's got to grow a beard, dye it black, just the way I have mine, groomed or whatever, all chopped up. And if McGregor wins, I got to go clean shaven
go clean shaven, you got to clean, get rid of it all.
I do. I haven't seen my face since 2012. I've had a beard like this for about that long, so it'll be a first.
I'm surprised too that you got Adam on a show. I mean, Adam's I think he would make a really good content creator, as somebody who tries to help people out with sponsored videos and doing a lot of legwork and stuff. And him saying his stuff is so annoying. He's got a great voice, very entertaining. So I had to check it out, because I know he doesn't do a lot of YouTube appearances often at all.
Yeah, it's MMA, man. So I'll give you the point that you can sort of crack that shell open. Just tell
I
him you got to go to
definitely.
an MMA show.
I don't think I would with even with hanging out with Adam and him being a former MMA guy. I wouldn't mess with him. He's a big dude, and he seems like he would put a hurting on somebody. But yet, he's really, really cool, very nice, and very much like a teddy bear. But I just definitely wouldn't want to cross him.
Yeah, former MMA guys tend to be that way because they know what the consequences of violence are. They've been on the receiving end of some nasty stuff. So, like, it's better to just talk it through. It's peace is always the best way forward.
He is connected too, because like we saw each other in Miami for Bitcoin 2021. He didn't have passes for the event. Ended up getting passes, asking me, and ultimately I don't think he could have got me in, but asking me if I wanted to head over to where Paris Hilton was DJing, and it's just like he is so freaking well connected. It's insane. It's crazy, but.
I can't shave my beard or people think I'm just a giant fat baby.
Dude. And then you really would be Satoshi.
Oh my gosh.
He says I say that all the time, so I had to throw that in when he says that.
Oh my gosh. You know what the funny thing is? If you made plush toys, people would buy it. They totally would, man. It's all branding, right? Like just more merch.
It'd be awesome as hell. It'd be like BitBoy's wrestler character. I would love it, dude. I might do an NFT.
Sean, you got to get ahead of this, man. He's gonna do NFTs with your likeness and try to like steal all your alpha, bro. Don't let it happen.
Totally. I'm gonna. It's like jacking the whole idea and just like, I'm gonna do it, dude.
Did you see Bozak go to California, and he was doing that augmented reality with that?
He's got his NFT. He's got a Kenny NFT that can be added to your augmented reality.
He was taking all these pictures of like, this big cartoon him like in the airport in the plane, and it looked really, really good.
You played air coins. It's like throwing a Kenny in air coins, and then you're looking around, and all of a sudden you're seeing a little Kenny there.
Yeah.
So because he went to California, so he went ahead and like you could see the little Kenny dude doing I'll show people a picture. There's a video here, so he's actually moving. Let me see if I can get myself full screen here so everybody can see this thing. Have you seen this, Seth? Hold on, you were muted.
I haven't seen it animated. That's great.
Now the best part is this is the thing that I noticed very quickly, and it wasn't because I was trying to look at Ken's crotch, but it looks like a pee stain in his underwear.
What's the great thing, man? Seriously, his brand is so great. Like, he doesn't take himself too seriously. It's hilarious, man. That is so Ken.
So he goes on a plane, and as he's on the plane, he's like taking pictures where like, so here's a picture of Stash because he went to go visit Stash, and then here is Kenny the NFT, and the picture was Stash. So that way the augmented reality is throwing it into the picture.
Do you have the one where it's in the airport? Because I thought it was like a cup. Yeah, it looked like a cutout in the airport. In that it looked
like standing up in the airport.
Yeah, real.
Yeah, well, me and Ken's actually walked around with cutouts. We had a fluffy pony cutout from Magical Crypto Conference, and we were taking.
I literally thought that he was traveling with a cutout of himself.
No, but he's traveling with himself on a plane. So he took pictures of himself in augmented reality on a plane. It's great. Only Ken. But I was going to go, man, but like, it's a jazz festival. I'm like, why the hell is anybody wanting to go to a jazz festival? Like, I'm not going to travel to California.
I think
festival.
Under the best of circumstances, you couldn't get me to California right now. And bro, I grew up there. I can't go back to prison. So thanks, but no thanks.
None of us can, man.
At first I was thinking you're on the run. I'm like, oh no, it's because California is a prison. That's what you're saying.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's been a long day for me, man.
Yeah,
it really has.
Yeah, my wife and I left, and we were like, "Yeah, no, we're done." We undid some of the echo chamber brainwashing from both of our childhoods by living in Texas for a solid number of years, and we're like, "All right, cool. We've been like unschooled, right? Unbrainwashed a little bit."
If you're in Austin, that's Austin's has fallen. Let me tell you.
Yeah, Well, we were outside of Austin, so
No.
yeah. But sure, same diff. We were in the greater Austin area, but I did most of my work in like Bastrop and south of there. So we were still, I feel like we were still kind of in Texas.
Sean, you got anything you want to add before we wrap up, bro, my friend?
Please go and subscribe to my channel and like my stuff and make comments. Oh, yeah, go comment on all the videos, and subscribe, and you'll enter into Win Crypto this week. I'll probably give it away on like Wednesday again.
So, but you have to comment on all your videos to enter?
No, I just run the random comment picker. So if you comment on one, you're entered in one. So if you comment on every video, then you're entered in whatever.
I get it. I was just being sarcastic, man. Just trying to be funny. I meant to also play the intro that you came up with last week, and I totally like spaced on that. Like it's been a very long day. I got up a little bit earlier than normal, and Fridays I run the pre-search live stream, and then now Fridays I'm doing the BitBoy crypto, and I had a bunch of meetings. So
right on. You got to start doing siesta, man. The Spaniards have it right. Seriously, take that little break midday. You don't have to nap or whatever, but just like chill the F out. Siesta.
Well, so most of the time I am. It's just sometimes like periodically I'll have a couple days like where it's just a lot of nonstop action, but generally I'm kind of working at a medium pace, and
at a medium pace.
What
is I work in between bong hits is really what happens.
Yeah, I don't have that benefit, guys.
Did you think he was talking about like salsa when he said medium pace?
No, I thought he was talking about that old Adam Sandler album where he had that stupid sketch. Yeah. He goes at a medium pace.
You never heard the song? Sean?
No, growing up in Texas, it's got paste pecani sauce. It's a whole big thing.
Right. Yeah, Adam Sandler. Because somebody else was saying something. Oh, Eric. It was last night in the Kool-Aid meeting. Sean, he said about a medium pace. And I said a medium pace. It just because the medium pace, it just means something after you are familiar with the song. It just always will mean something.
It dates you though too. You had to have been like an adolescent or teenager in the 90s.
Oh yeah, I'm totally old. I admit that I'm old. Everybody's like, no, you don't look old, but I'm old.
Yeah,
the lyrics are some of the most beautiful lyrics though. Put your arms around me, baby. Can't you see I need you so? Hold me close against your skin. I'm about to begin loving you. And then the next line goes,
why is it weird when you say that?
Because it's 3 dudes on a live stream.
Oh, I'm about to love you.
Put your arms around me, baby.
It's actually less weird. And we can do it that way too.
We could do some ASMR or ASMR.
Is that your Biden impression?
Yeah, that's my Biden. my Biden impression.
Imagine the sensation of your hair being sniffed as he does it.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I'm about to start loving you.
There's something wrong with us, and I guess that's time for us to. That'll just be a great cue for us to just kind of throw this little bad boy up. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw on this intro as the outro, and make sure you tune in for next week's show. Appreciate you joining. Make sure you subscribe to all of our channels. Information for our channels is down below in the video description, as well as the articles that we talked about today. As always, I encourage you to be the change by practicing change. Ow, chicka, wow, 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 wow.